What's happening, people? I'm DJ Graish, and in today's video I'm going to make a liquid drum and bass tune live on the airwaves. So if anyone's there, let me know if you can see me, let me know if you can hear me, and also let me know if you can see the screen. So for the people who were here last week, I had an absolute calamity. I had a problem with the OBS and basically the screen recording kept freezing and I had lack of audio, etc, etc. So I always say at the beginning of these, let me know if you can see me, let me know if you can hear me, let me know if you can hear the music, and let me know if the screen is moving or if it's frozen, you know? But in this case, yeah, it's even more important because I'm a little bit shaken up from last week's one, so I'd really appreciate if you could let me know. And with a bit of luck, it won't happen this time because I have been testing it out all day and it's been fine. I still never really got to the bottom of what was happening last week, but I was reading online. And basically what I think it is it's possible that I don't have enough RAM on my computer, so it's time to get a new laptop. Big up Future World Machines, shout out Hayden in the chat. And something really weird happened to my YouTube account this week. So I don't know if you can see it, but basically, you know how you can get like a blue tick next to your name to say you're verified, and there's also this new one that's kind of a musical note and it shows it's the official music channel for a certain artist, right? So I applied for it, and the way how you do it is through DistroKid. Well, it's through your distributor if that happens to be DistroKid, you know, or whichever one, CD Baby or all the others, you know. Anyway, so I applied for it and I got accepted, and the channel is in the process of switching from a regular channel to an official artist music channel, right? And stupidly, it's only after I did that I started to do some research whether it was even a good idea. And for the most part it was, but there's a big problem with my YouTube Studio app, and basically it's showing, well, most of the data is missing for the past years. Well, it's only showing data for the past few days. But even more disturbingly, so there's this other artist called Talal Graish, right? And I think he's from Lebanon or somewhere like that. He's like an Arabic singer. I've known about him since I started, you know, and I used to joke when I worked in the call centre, I used to joke with my colleagues that I need to get bigger than Talal Graish. But anyway, fast forward to this week, I'm in the YouTube Studio app and it's all looking messed up, and like all the data for most of my videos is missing, but there's just data for a couple of my tunes and a couple of other tunes from Talal Graish. I couldn't believe it, man. So I can see all his stats. I can see, you know, I can see how long of each tune people have been listening, you know, like his retention data and all that, which is pretty fascinating to look at, but I feel a little bit rude because it's not my tunes, you know. So I got onto YouTube support on the little chat, and they were just like, first of all, they said, oh, it'll all be sorted next week. It wasn't, so I get on again, and they're like, you need to talk to DistroKid about that. So anyway, that's what's going on behind the scenes of the Graish channel. I'm sure it'll all be fine, and to be honest with you, it's not really like I need the historical data from last year. but it would be nice, you know, if I want to see how a certain video did in its first week of being uploaded compared to my new ones or whatever, you know, it's good to have the data. But anyway, in today's video, I'm going to make a liquid drum and bass tune live. It's going to be an interactive one, so I'm open to suggestions from the chat. And if you want to get involved, all you have to do is just comment in the chat. Before we get started, I just want to give a massive shout out to all of the followers of this channel. Sorry, all the members of this channel. That's Future World Machines, Tana Slider, Misty, Zach23, Jason Story, and Seebs Fam. And big up Suklal Music in the chat. And it's entirely possible that I reversed some of the pads in this tune. So this one's called Side Quest, and this has become basically the theme music for my live stream, so whenever I start I play this tune. Let's have a look. While we're just waiting for some people to join, we might as well just have a little look. So I've got the tune organised. Hang on, let me switch views. Got the tune organised like I usually do into drums, bass, instruments, and what could it be? E-piano old school? Drop pad? To be honest with you, it doesn't look like the pad is reversed. I might be wrong. We've got this one, which was done in wavetable synth. Yeah, and then there's that one, but it looks like pretty much the same. So yeah, it's a wavetable patch, and I made it myself, and there's various tutorials on my channel where I show you how to make this, but essentially it's just this. You go into vintage on the wavetable synth. You can go into your sort of waveform shapes, and you've got vintage, and then you've got this one called mini waves. And what I've done is I've got the LFO and made it move this up and down, so if you watch it you can see it moving up and down like that. And then with LFOs, I've also made these filters move back and forth. And then it's just like EQ'd out, so there's no bass and there's no top end, it's just mids. We've got delay, we've got the hybrid reverb. But the thing that makes this particular pad sound really nice is look at the MIDI for it. And what I did is I kind of did a, you know when you do right click and you do convert audio to a MIDI, to a harmony. I had a sample from a tune, like some ambient tune, that I right clicked and like converted the audio to harmony, and this is what it came up with. And then when I put that with this pad, it just sounds absolutely amazing. Press the circle on wavetable. Are we talking about this to make it go up like that? Yeah, you can see there's two different oscillators, both doing the wobbling up and down thing. And this is the matrix, and this is what's going on in the matrix. Anyway, this isn't the tune we're even supposed to be working on today. This is just my intro theme music. So what I'm going to do is go to new live set and get started. And with this one, I am going to save it, because while I was waiting to start the stream, I did a little couple of tweaks on that. Anyway, here's a new live set, and for the guys who are new to this, you'll see that in a new live set you always have 2 MIDI tracks, 2 audio tracks, and you've got the bass BPM of 120. So for this tune I'm going to put that to 174. And let's get started with the drums. And someone was criticizing me in one of my comment sections, saying that I always delete those MIDI tracks. What it was is the drum and bass, making drum and bass the easy way tutorial. couple of people were, it was the first video where I've had kind of some negative feedback on it, but it's all good. So anyway, Ghost Syndicate samples. You might have seen the other week I uploaded one that was the 4 AM drum and bass, like liquid drum and bass pack. And today I'm going to be using blue. So let's have a listen to some of the drum one-shots. Five was pretty good. I think 5 is going to be the one. So I'll just zoom in. I'm just going to sort of loop the first bar for now. So you just highlight that section, Command and L to loop it. And then you can copy by, if you hold down Alt, you can copy this way. And just let go and have a little listen to that. All right, let's have a listen to some snares. So, you know, you kind of get a more modern liquid DNB sound with these rim shots. And sometimes the samples are a little bit long, but you can just shorten them down like that. So let's have a listen to this. Now, the amazing thing about these sample packs is you've got these things called top loops. And what it is, it's basically a loop of different hi-hats and stuff. And what you can do is just play your kick and snare, and then you can sort of listen to the top loops along with it and see which one goes best, like this. That one sounded pretty good. I think I'm going to use top 3, and I'm not going to use the whole thing, so I'll just cut it off halfway, and then I'll just highlight these kicks and snares and just do that. Now it sounds like this. Shout out Distant Lands in the chat. So we're just getting started with a new liquid tune. I've just chosen some kicks, snares and a top loop. And there's also, if we go back to the one shots, there's also these shuffles. So listen to these. Pretty good. So the idea with these shuffles is what you do is you put one after the snare somewhere like that. And then you can copy the first part of it and put that after the second snare as well, like that. Let's just loop that and make sure it's working well. Now obviously everything needs a bit of mixing and EQing and stuff, but I'm just going to quickly copy that a few times. So we've got 4 bars, and I'm just going to turn down the top loop a bit and this shuffle. In fact, I should probably turn everything down because you can probably see the master's going above 0. Let's turn everything down by 2 dB. Let me know if it's sounding alright and how it's sounding compared to my voice as well, because I do like to try and keep everything balanced so you get a good experience on YouTube, you know, because it can be a bit annoying if you're watching a YouTuber with a really quiet microphone. Anyway, I've just put an EQ onto this top loop, and as you can see, despite it being a top loop, it does have a lot of information in the bottom end that we don't want, so let's just roll it off. and then I'm just going to hold down Alt and drag the same EQ onto this this shuffle. But maybe I'll EQ it slightly less aggressively. So before I go any further, I'm just going to rename these. So I'm just going to call it kick, snare, top, and shuffle. Let's group them together and call it drums. Let's have a listen to some other sounds. So as you can see, you can just play your drums and then go through. If you're using loops, you can just go through them and see if any of them sound good with it. But what you can also do is just go through some of these one shots. So I'm just going to grab the simpler, put that in. Let me go back to that sort of mellow piano sound. So if you click this little tiny headphone symbol here, that allows you to actually hear what you're doing when you move these notes around. So, see what I mean? And you can hear the first note of it is quite short and it sort of cuts off. And I think I'm going to use a bit of delay just to sort of give it the feeling that it carries on a bit longer. So I'll show you what I mean. If you get a delay, put it on there. But then when it does the higher note, don't really want the delay to be on there. So a little workaround is this. If you just automate the on-off button of the delay, you can do this, wait. So I want it to be on, except for when this note plays. And then again at the end, on until that note plays. So let's have a listen now. Here how now, even though I used a sample that was a little bit short, you'd never know now thanks to all that delay. We can try it on at 8. Maybe I'll decide later on what kind of timing I want it to be on, but for now, I just want to double this because it's going to get very repetitive if we carry on with it like that, so need it to do something else. Now the question is, do I keep the delay on for those last two notes? Alright. So there's this pad that I like to use, and it's called Chord Pacific. Where is it now? So if you go into Instrument Rack and Pad, go to Chord Pacific Pad. And the great thing about this Chord Pacific Pad is you've got all these different chords like major, minor, major seventh, minor seventh, and you can just put in some MIDI notes and then just try out all the different chord styles and see which one works best with your tune. I absolutely love the sound of this chord. It's just like instant rave mode. Although I think we can make it even more euphoric if we put some more effects on it. Future World Machines is asking me if I ever use the chord MIDI effect. And I have done, but I've not spent that much time messing with it, to be honest. I do need to get more into MIDI effects. You know, the thing is about Ableton Live and about music production in general, it's just there's so many different skills and so many different areas of it that you can explore. And, you know, you're never really done learning. You're always learning, right? So even though I've been using Ableton for a very long time, and I have pretty much dabbled with a lot of stuff in here. I mean, Max for Live is one example where there's just so much to explore, and I've barely even scratched the surface. Anyway, the drums, I'm fairly happy with them, but let's put some stuff on them. So we can put some compression on there. I'll choose the glue compressor. With the glue compressor, I generally tend to try and only do a couple of dB of gain reduction. Shout out Paul K in the chat. So if you just bring down the threshold, and depending on what you're really trying to achieve, sometimes it's good to just make it so that the needle only moves a tiny bit. Like that, and you're basically getting 1 dB of gain reduction. But don't worry, I'm going to smash the drums with a load of other stuff. For example, this drum bus. And the regulars will know what's coming next. I'm going to get to tape 8. Put a bit of tape saturation on the drums. But there's a couple of things that I always turn off. One of them is this flutter. That's messed me up in the past. The other one's this head bump. And then once you've done that, I usually like to just crank it to the max. And maybe sometimes to the max is too much. Alright. And one thing you can do is if you group all of your drum effects together. So I've got the compression, the drum bus, which is adding some drive, and the tape saturation, you know, and you can group them all together. And now what you can do is turn it off and have a listen, and also have a look at your meter. As you can see, we're hitting up to like minus 1.5 dB, and it sounds like this. Put the effects on. We're hitting up to minus 7, and it wasn't even that much quieter. Let's give it a little bit more though. Paul's asking for the darkness. He says, do a video on 95-96 Renegade hardware style. I would absolutely love to. I'm going to have to do my research first and then put together a video. Right, so anyway, what I was saying is, what I want to do is kind of match it by ear. So turn off this effects. Turn it on. And as you can hear, I've got it to roughly the same volume, but I've saved myself 5 dB. If you notice, before it was hitting up to minus 1.5, now it's hitting up to minus 6.5, and that's a load of headroom that I've gained. And when it comes to the end of making this tune, as in like mixing and mastering, that's going to be a big advantage in terms of trying to push it louder. And actually I feel like I can bring it down a tiny bit. Let's go back to the Ghost Syndicate. So, by the way, guys, I am an affiliate for Ghost Syndicate now. So, if you want to get this sample pack, you can get it from the link in the description. And what you'll be doing is essentially getting it for the same price you usually would, but you'll be really helping out this YouTube channel. So, this is the Liquid Drum and Bass bundle. And I have made a tutorial using it, and I used the 4am sample pack. But today I'm using blue, and as you can see, there's actually 6 different sample packs in there, and they're on sale. So you can help out this YouTube channel, get yourself 6 sample packs, and get it for a sale price. In the UK, I think it's £40. You'll have to, if you're using dollars or euros, you'll have to see what it costs, but I know it's a bargain, so check it out. Anyway, going back, there's also bass one-shots, right? So what I want is one like that, that's just basically a big long note that I can put into a sampler and then just play it along. So some of these are absolutely perfect for it. Then you've also got shorter ones like that. I was saying before at the beginning of the stream that I faced a little bit of criticism on one of my recent videos because all I did is just grabbed a load of these bass parts and dragged them into the project. And obviously I was just kind of trying to demonstrate, you know, the sample pack and that, but people were not happy that I wasn't like programming my own bass patches or that I wasn't playing any MIDI notes. So for that reason, in today's stream I will be putting in the notes with just one of these putting these into the sampler and playing them. So I think I'm going to use this C. You're welcome, Paul K. And shout out my brother DJ Fully Loaded. So just a recap of what we've done so far. So I've got the kick, the snare, the top loop and the shuffle, and all together, you know, here's the kick, here's the snare. Still not EQ'd or anything. We've got the shuffle. The shuffle's actually in the wrong place. This is why it's a good idea to solo stuff and have a listen. So what I'm going to do is, if I just put this onto an 8th note, I'm just going to move that, move that to there. That's how I wanted it. So we've got the kick, the snare, the shuffle, which is now in the right place. And wait, I didn't realise there's so many of these. And finally we have the top loop, and they all sound like this. Then I put in some chords, which are basically just a one-shot sample. It sounds like this. All this stuff needs like EQing and stuff, but in the meantime, what I'm going to do is play the bass. So I've got a synth bass one shot here, and what I'm going to do is actually something slightly cheating, but I'm just going to get the MIDI clip from this chord Pacific and drag it down, holding down Alt and let go. Now it sounds like this. And obviously you need to check that it's in the right octave. One thing you should do when you're doing your bass is to get the spectrum analyzer. So put the spectrum analyzer on the master, have a look at what notes you're playing. Right now we've got a 47.9 hertz, somewhere around there, and then it goes up to like a 66 hertz, and then the other ones are in between that. So it's basically between 47 and 66. So I think that's absolute perfect for the sub bass. It's up to you whether you think this is enough harmonics or whether you want to add some. So you might want to just draw for the saturator or for example, this dynamic tube, put that on there. And there's obviously a million different plugins you can use for saturation. So you can crank up the drive, crank this up in general. What you'd do is turn down the output quite a bit and then turn this up. And then you might want to tweak the wet and dry. There are also 3 different types of dynamic tube, A, B and C. And it's always a good idea to turn it off and on with this button. Alright, here's the tune. Another thing you can do if you want to add a little bit of wobble to your bass is use the auto filter. So if you put the auto filter on there, put it something like that, and then you can use this LFO and put the rate on something like an 1/8. If you really want to hear what it's doing, you can pull it right down like this. And then once you're happy with the sort of rate that you've chosen, you can just bring it back up again. The mad thing is, yeah, you're just filtering it, right? Which you might think all you're really doing is sort of removing the harmonics momentarily and then putting them back again and just doing that over and over again. But if you actually watch what happens on the spectrum analyzer and look at the fundamental frequency down here, can you see it sort of moving left to right like a little bit? That means you are actually making it sort of wobble in pitch. think it might be a good idea to save this. It's going to call it blue. All right, let's have a look what we've got. So let's have a listen to some other stuff now. I'm going to go into the 0G. She sounds kind of in tune to the project already. Where's the little fade things? All right, I'm gonna get some delay, you know. Are they in tune with the tune? Or am I just tripping? I feel like it should be ooh, and then like this bit chops off and goes to the beginning. Out of tune. Yeah, it's just a bit of I don't know what I'm doing, I'm messing about. Do you reckon 28's in tune now? Alright, so who was it that said the roads? Was that you, Future World Machines, saying that there has to be a roads in it? Well, I'm going to. I mean, you could say this is a Rhodes, isn't it? Not sure. I think that might be a normal piano, but anyway, I'm going to get the Rhodes. So the one I like to use, as many of you know, it's the Rhodes that's in this contact here, and it's called Scarby Mark 1. And there's various different presets, but I'd use the one that's called Scarby Mark 1, at least to start with, and I might change it later. You know. I made the last note like a little bit early because it goes with the ding ding. Then on this last one, could it be there? So, in the Scarby Mark 1, you've got this instrument noise. I'll turn that down. We've also got the bass cranked to the max. Might have to see about that. Alright, let's put some effects on this. The amazing thing about when you've got these melodies that have these short notes and then you put a delay on it, you can make like a whole new melody that's like way more complex by messing about with the different timings of the delay. For example, I've just put it on 6, right? Wait, listen what happens when the dry and wet is on 50%, which is not how I'm going to actually have it, but just listen to this. Makes a pretty mad pattern, right? So what I would suggest is if you're ever making a melody that's just made out of all these tiny little short notes, put a delay on there and then try it out on all the different timings and find one that sounds a bit mad. And then even if you're not going to use it with the dry wet all the way up, you could crank it down a bit. And then all that madness is sort of pushed a little bit to the back. on this hybrid reverb, you see these two tabs. You've got reverb and you've got EQ. Make sure that you go into this EQ section and dial in where you really want this to roll off. For example, you know, don't have too much bass in it. So Future World Machines is saying have different delay timings for left and right. Let's try it. So we're going to leave it on 6 for one of them, so maybe 6 could be the right side. Sounds pretty good with 2 on the other side. 6 on the left and 2 on the right. And I shouldn't be showing, I always do this. We shouldn't be testing it out with the drums and the bass turned off and stuff. It has to be everything on. You gotta hear how it sounds in the mix. Let's put the same hybrid reverb onto her as well. So I'm just going to hold down Alt and drag it on. So how's everyone's weekend been, by the way? It is absolutely sweltering hot in Barcelona right now. We have, basically, you know how you've got the minimum and the maximum on the weather app? The minimums have gone down to, so it's 20 minimum now. All night it's 20 degrees. And then the maximum's going up to like 28, 29 degrees. So it is absolutely boiling now. And been a good weekend. So I need to make sure I always wear sun cream. And by the way, I'm waffling on about the weather, but what I should be telling you is I've just put a compressor onto the bass and I've put sidechain from the kick. You know, obviously people love the sunshine, you know, and people go on holiday specifically just to have sunny weather. But I have to say, you're actually lucky that it's 17 degrees. It's much easier to sleep at that temperature. It's way too hot here to sleep, you know. You need a fan pointing at you. You can't get under the covers. I know, it's a first world problem. I sound like I'm moaning. I do love living in Barcelona, to be honest. We just got this portable AC unit. So we can actually blast the AC in the living room, and it's made a massive difference. But you know this phrase, acclimatized, basically meaning that you get used to it. That's definitely true, because I've lived there for a while. And people say, when I moan about the cold in the winter, people say, oh, but you're English, you should be used to it. It's like, no, I'm used to this, you know, I'm not used to British weather anymore because it's been years. So I like to put my stuff into groups. So I've just put the bass in its own group, even though there's only one bass sound so far. It might be joined by others, and it's always good to just put them into groups, you know. And I also usually like to rename stuff, so let's just call that, what would I call it? Long bass. Because it's just one big long bass note, you know? And maybe in a bit I'm going to add some short bass as well. And this one, I'm going to call that delay piano. This one, pad. This one's cheesy vocal. And this last one was Rhodes melody. So getting towards the stage of needing to do the arrangement now, but maybe we don't have quite enough elements. So Future World Machines, what kind of music are you making? I'll check out your page if you've got a SoundCloud or something. Or what do people post music on these days? You know, this could turn into a rant, but I am using DistroKid, and I do put my stuff on, like, you know, Spotify and Apple Music and all the rest of it, but kind of got a bit disillusioned with all that stuff recently. Spotify is always in the news, and they're always, you know, they're basically like paying you pennies for a billion streams. I'm just not into the whole thing, you know. So recently, even though I'm finishing tunes, I just don't know really where to put them. So I might just put them on Bandcamp, and if you want to buy them, they're on there. If you want to stream them, they're on there. But I know Spotify is one of the most, you know, one of the places where people go to listen to music these days. But if you're not happy with the way they treat the artists, well, you know, why would I put my music on there if I'm not really happy with it? And so far, I have to say, in the DistroKid app, you can see how much you actually made from your streaming royalties and stuff. And I've made about less than a tenner. Not worth it. Anyway, I was saying before that if you are enjoying this stream and if you learn stuff from my tutorials and my live streams, one way you can help this channel and get yourself a nice sample pack at the same time is to click the link in the description and check out the Liquid Drum and Bass bundle from Ghost Syndicate. That is a affiliated link, which means I'll get a cut of the sale and you'll be helping this YouTube channel. And there's 6 sample packs in the bundle with loads of different sounds, including all the drums that I've used for this tune. Also, this piano came from it. All of these have come from one pack within the bundle, but there are 5 others as well, so check it out. Where was it now? And oh yeah, so I was going through the cheesy vocals, and I probably should add one more thing. Guitar. How cool would that be? Shout out Richie. Which country are you in, Richie? That's the Smiths. I didn't realise these 0G samples were actually taken from real tunes, you know. I thought they were just like little bits that were recorded. feel like that might be in tune with the tune. Let me know in the chat which country you're listening from. I always love to know where everybody's locked in from. And I'm still, you know, I know the internet's been around for a long time now, but it still blows me away that we're all able to just chill and interact live when somebody's in Peru and somebody's in Scotland and somebody's in Dubai and somebody's here in Spain, you know. Shout out, is it Liquid or Liquite? Big up yourself, and I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Big up the French Junglist crew. Liquid Drum Bass crew. And I'm definitely going to keep making videos. I really appreciate that, man. I was just saying, so the internet is a wonderful thing. We can all interact with each other in real time in all different parts of the world. And it's just amazing, isn't it? It's good that we had the internet during lockdown, tell you that. Imagine if we had lockdown but the internet didn't exist. It would be mad. What was the first pronunciation? Liquite. Or was it liquid? Liquite, I think, wasn't it? Liquid. I'm trying to picture how a French person would say it. Liquid. Is this in time? Well, big up yourself, and I really appreciate you being here. In fact, I really appreciate all of my subscribers and all of the people who watch my videos. Oh yeah, what was it? Liquite. Anyway, I need to speak to you about... So, I was talking at the beginning about how everything messed up in my face last week, and how basically I had a nightmare with OBS. But the part that I didn't mention is, so we had a poll last week, right? And I said, what do you want me to make in the live stream? Normal jungle, 140 jungle, liquid drum and bass, or dub. And the results of the poll were that everyone wanted me to make jungle, right? And I was getting ready to make jungle on the live stream, and then it all messed up. Well, the tune that I was supposed to make last week is the one that I made in the video that was released yesterday. So if you've not seen it, there's a new video on my channel. It's just called How to Make Jungle Ableton Live. Simple title, very simple thumbnail. And I've been working on it all week, you know, so obviously it's a bit more refined than what you would have seen on the live stream. But essentially that is the tune that I was going to make on last week's live stream. So if you were looking forward to watching me make it live, I'm sorry that you couldn't, but you can at least watch me make it. And the advantage of that is that it's a very I've chopped it up, so it's a very quick edit, you know, so you get to see me make the whole tune in 20 minutes, so it's not boring. Big up Richie. You know what? Sometimes when you're going through and you find a sample and you're like, that sounds like it's already in tune. And obviously, you know, you can retune any of these samples however you like to make them fit. But it is pretty nice when you get one that's already just in the right tuning, and all you have to do is drop it in and maybe fiddle with the timing a little bit. So it sounds like this. I want to big up the French crew, big up the Irish crew, all my Junglist locked in from the UK. If you're in the USA, Canadian crew. Alright, I'm going to press save there. Anyone got any questions for me about what's been done so far? It's all pretty self-explanatory. We've got 4 channels of the drums. And by the way, for the people who weren't here, I put the glue compressor, the drum bus and the tape saturation on the drums. On the bass so far we've just got dynamic tube, auto filter, and I've put the LFO on. So watch what happens to the auto filter. Well, you can't actually see it moving. I think you can see it moving in the latest Ableton Live 12. But in my one, it just sort of doesn't show you the visual of what's going on. But you can hear what's going on. Is wobbling it. So Liquite or Liquid, you by the way, the word formations, what you actually mean is training, and the reason why I know that is because I live in Spain and they call it formación. But you're saying paid music training, tuition, basically. I think it's a great idea. Obviously, needless to say, you can learn things for free here on YouTube and other platforms. But if you do end up paying for something, I think you're going to get really good service, you know, because you're going to have one-on-one time with the teacher. You'll be able to ask all the questions you need, and you'll be able to, you know, ask for feedback on your tunes and get direct feedback from the tutor, etc. So, yeah. And the reason why I'm correcting you is because I'm actually an English teacher as well, you know, so it's kind of my job whenever I hear anyone make a mistake to correct them. But yeah, no, it's a common mistake. They say formación. But yeah, I would recommend it. If you've got the spare cash and you want to learn quickly, then you can do that. If you're a bit broke like me, I just learned from going on forums, specifically Dubstep forum, because it was in the days where dubstep was really popular, and that's what I first made. So I would be on Dubstep forum every day, just reading the production forum and every question that was being asked and the answers that the people got, you know. And there were some very well-respected producers on there that I kind of listened to their answer and sort of took it as gospel. Yeah, that's a good point, Future World Machines. Check it out. And the great thing about the internet these days is there's rating systems, you know, so whenever you're buying something, you look for the one with the 5 stars, or at least the best rating you can, you know, and you usually see how many ratings it's got. So for example, going back to me talking about the portable AC unit that I bought, it had over 4 stars and it had 1,000 people that had bought it, so I knew it was an alright one. But anyway, so when it comes to doing arrangement, and by the way, I should mention that I also do one-on-one lessons myself. Now, I don't take all the money up front like that. It's paid for on a lesson-by-lesson basis. So if any of you guys want to do lessons with me, I have a new email for it, and it's called contact.grace. I'll put it here in the chat. contact.grace@gmail.com. So if any of you guys want to do lessons with me, all you need to do is send me an email, and then we will have a Zoom call, and just discuss where you're at and what your needs are. Anyway, so with that being said, the way how I like to do an arrangement is, as you can see, I've just got everything going on in the first 4 bars here. And what I've done is I've cut everything, which can be a little bit daunting because you see everything you've just worked on disappear. But don't worry, because I'm going to paste it here at bar 33. Now this has become a bit of a default for me, but you might want to make a 16 bar intro. You might want to make your intro longer, 64 bars or whatever, you know. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I will do it 32. So the reason why I paste it at bar 33 is because that means there is 32 bars of intro, all right? And I'm just going to take the drums and copy them and put them back over here. And then what I do is I basically take bits of that and bring them back over here. But it's good to have the drums and the bass here at the drop. All right, so now it's a question of deciding what it's going to start with. So it could be the pad. For example, it could be drums and pad like this. And what's going on? I'm missing the top. I do think the top needs to be a bit more rolled off, actually. And I'm going to put some compression on it. So we're starting off with drums and pad, and it's going to do that twice. And then at bar 17, it's going to come with a new bit, so it could be. Actually, you know what? Delay piano is going to come in after 8 bars. Big up, man. Yeah, whenever you're ready to send me an email. So, I was just mentioning that I'm an English teacher, but I'm also a music production teacher. And I'm kind of hoping to transition from one to the other. And basically, you know how the kids break up for the summer holidays and then they go back in September? Well, I'm hoping to not go back in September this time. And just do a mixture of teaching, production, and just doing this YouTube channel. That's the plan. Right, we're starting off with drums and a pad. 8 bars later. Perhaps we should have a reverse crash. So I usually use these. I've got these packs, right? One of them's called Session Drums Multi-Mic. If you go into different drum kits here, most of them have good crashes. So I just drag a drum kit in. And then what I usually do is look for the crashes. So that one's fine. Make a MIDI clip. Find that crash. Now, when it comes to these, because they've been Future World Machines asking if I can teach him to speak English proper. So I was going to say velocity, yeah? So these crashes have been recorded at various different velocities. So we've got ranging from hard crash, at the top velocity all the way down to. You know, I have been meaning, for years I've been meaning to put posters all over Barcelona. Do you want to learn music production and English at the same time? If so, get in touch. I've never done it. And now, thanks to the internet, you know, I don't really feel the need to put posters around here because I can just reach out to billions of people online. How cool is that? So anyway, going back to reversing the crash, yeah? So here's the crash. You've got the different velocity levels. I've put it somewhere in the middle. Maybe it should be slightly higher than that. So one thing I like to do is just right-click it and freeze the track. Right-click it again, flatten the track. And for the people that didn't know about this, it basically just turns that into an audio clip. So now we're working with audio rather than MIDI, right? And let's just listen to this tail. I'm pretty sure that's silence, so it doesn't need to be there. So what you can do now is you can click into it. So we've got the crash as audio now, right? And it's good to have the forward version and the reverse version. So now I'm going to duplicate this channel. Command and D to duplicate it. Now we've got two of the same, but this one, I'm going to double click into it and then click this reverse button here. So what we've ended up with is the same crash twice, but one of them's forwards and one of them's backwards, and it sounds like this. All right, there's the forwards one. And I forgot to solo it. Here's the reverse one. And you can hear when it goes from the reverse one to the forwards one, it sounds a bit weird, right? How can we remedy that? Well, what we're going to do is grab it, hold down Command, and just drag a bit to the side like that. And then get rid of the end bit. Let's try again. Definitely sounds better. So the reason why I wanted this reverse crash is because here at bar 17, when we go from the first bit of the intro to the second bit of the intro, I wanted a reverse crash as a little signal to the listener that we're going into the next section. See what I mean? So we're going to label these as forward crash and reverse crash. In fact, just crash and reverse crash, alright? Rev crash. Both of those can go into the drum group. So this is how I organise mine. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. When I'm making like an instrumental type tune, like a liquid drum and bass tune, there's three groups: drums, bass and instruments. And then if I'm making a tune with a vocalist, like a singer or a rapper, I will add a fourth group and put all of the different vocal channels in there. Then maybe here's where the Rhodes melody comes in. And by the way, if you're liking this stream, if you're enjoying yourself, please make sure you hit the like button, and that's going to spread the stream to more people, and more people can learn how to make drum and bass. And by the way, I'm sorry to do this, but the Rhodes melody, I'm not sure about it, you know. So here's Contact and here's the Rhodes that we've got. And if you go into library, you can see I've also got the Gentleman. So that's just a normal piano, and it sounds like this. So let's have a vote. Did it sound better as a Rhodes or did it sound better as the Gentleman? You know, when it comes to my inspirations, I really liked the original days of Liquid in the mid-2000s, you know. When I first moved to Barcelona, there was like Jump Up and there was Liquid, and I didn't even know the name of it at the time, but I just kind of preferred the smoother drum and bass tunes back then. Yeah, I thought so too, though. So the normal piano sounds better than the Rhodes, and I usually love a Rhodes, but for whatever reason with this sort of jolty melody, it wasn't working as well. And with the Gentleman, it sounded a lot smoother. Perhaps it could be with the lower velocities. Let's have a listen. I do want it to be a bit suave, you know. And obviously we need the girl saying, yeah, on the drop. That guitar's not going to be there. And I'm guessing that for you guys, for the people who have good speakers and that, the bass must be a bit much, because it's even a bit much in these headphones, which are notoriously terrible for bass. So let me just turn it down a bit. It does sound nice though, it's just a bit much. Do I record my voice in my songs sometimes? You know, I used to be in a rap group and we used to do like hip hop and grime tunes and stuff, so I have recorded myself that way. But in terms of like on a Liquid drum and bass tune, I haven't done it yet. But I do really like that style of Liquid that's got the rapping, like DRS and stuff, you know. I definitely should get on that stuff. And it'd make a good YouTube video as well. Maybe I could go do. And I know it's a cliche, but I might do the dug. You've never seen me do this on my YouTube channel before, so maybe today could be the first day. It's worth at least having a little exploration. I usually find that if you're going to do loads of kicks in a row like that, it might be a good idea to turn them down ever so slightly so it's not just overpowering. You know what? I'm going to tell you the story of Just Chill. So, I actually have never done this before, right? But for that tune, I felt like it was a really chilled out tune. And I just wanted a sample of somebody saying something about chill, you know? So I put in on Google, chill movie sample. And what came up, it was basically a movie called Pineapple Express. And the scene is, there's a gunshot directly after it, you know. So he goes, all right, everybody just chill. So it's like, I probably should have included the gunshot, but I didn't. So that's where that sample comes from. And it was only after that, and sorry to anyone who likes that movie, right? But I had seen it in the past, and then I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to sample the movie, I should at least watch the movie, you know? So it was after the tune was finished and released, and I sat down and tried to watch Pineapple Express, and it's terrible. It's a really bad film. I'm sorry if you like it, but I thought it was terrible. But it's a good sample, so no regrets. Just thought that was funny that it's like the tune was basically almost finished. And I'm like, oh, I need a vocal sample for this, and just went Googling one. Anyway, let me know if you've got any questions about the production techniques I've used so far. I'd like to, you know, I'd like to carry on going through the 0G folder where that female vocal came from and listen out for some other good ones, but I do also have to be conscious that I'm live on stream. And I can't just be sitting here going through all these samples, you know, because it's not that entertaining. Yeah, oh, you're talking about the Just Chill one? Yeah, it's amazing. Alright, everybody just chill. Wait. One thing I like to do is I really hope it's not the wrong notes, but if you want to know if your bass is playing the right notes, you can put it up by a couple of octaves. So hold down shift and press up. It was playing the right notes though. Yeah, I feel like, you know, American humour has sort of changed over the years, you know. And right now it's very funny and it's a bit more sophisticated. But there was a period there where American humour in the mid-2000s or whatever, it just consisted on just shouting and making a big drama, you know. One example is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I really can't stand that show. It's just them shouting over each other the entire time, and they think the more they shout, the funnier it is, and I just can't stand it. I'm sorry. And that Pineapple Express movie was from that era, the shouting era. I'm too busy waffling, you know. I've just put these crashes in the completely wrong place. For me, it sounds like the bass is slightly off. I wonder if I'll be able to tune it. And by the way, Future World Machines. I know. I know that these samples are used, perhaps overused. I do love these old school styles, you know. It's kind of a homage. So you can see that it's bouncing around a lot, but I feel like it's flat, basically. You see how it's kind of over here on the left side a lot? I'm going to try and make that, what's it called? Like this. See that now? What I'm trying to say is, even though the tuner is kind of jumping around and you can see that the bass is wobbling and it's all over the place, I want it to kind of mainly show green. And it's hovering down and it's hovering up, but it's roughly there, so leave it like that. Let's play the drop again. Yeah, I love a bit of 0G, you know. It's obviously what I'm doing with this tune is I'm using a mixture of brand new samples from Ghost Syndicate and old school samples from back in the day. So you get the kind of new versus old sound. Anyway, I wanted to show you how to do that kicks thing. I don't really like it myself, so one thing you can do is just get rid of these ones and do this. Make a new pattern, you know. Sometimes it's good to do some panning, so this delay piano could be over to the left a bit. So what I want to do is just before the drop, I'm going to get rid of this last bit of this melody up to there, and then I'm going to put a delay on, well, there's already a delay on B delay, and I want it to go dun 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 dun. So maybe like that. What you do is get this pencil tool, go into automation mode and put this on mixer and then B delay, and then just draw in a line going up like that. Listen to it. And then you can dial in the feedback to taste. So you can see the feedback is only on 21% right now, so you might want it a bit more. It's entirely possible. Sorry about that if the mic's sounding weird. I could try and fix it. Should I try and fix it? Because last time I had an absolute calamity. I think I made things worse when I started messing with it. You know what? I'll just quickly try pressing one button. Out to future world machines. Right, so these guitars are not going to be here, just to clarify. By the way, I should probably tell you about Grace Nation. So, on this channel, there's the option to become a member of Grace Nation, and there's a few different perk options available. And the top level gets you into our monthly meeting, which is a Zoom call where we all get together, share feedback. Basically, the idea is to bring a tune to the session, and we can all listen to it, give each other feedback, etc. So if that's something you're interested in, join Grace Nation level 3. There's also the other levels as well. And I think I'm going to record a video this week talking about my first year on YouTube, because basically this channel has been here since 2012. I never put anything on there. Back in the day, I never uploaded anything. And then sort of probably starting from around 2017 or a bit later than that, 2018, I was putting on some DJ mixes and putting bits and bobs on here. But I wouldn't really consider it starting this channel, because I was never talking to the camera and doing these kind of videos, and the channel was getting nowhere, you know. So I think around a year ago, I uploaded my first tutorial, and at that point, I think the channel had around 200 subscribers. So in a year, we've gone from 200 to like 2,600. So it's been an amazing year. And I was just saying, I'm gonna put together a video which is going to be for the members, you know, talking about my first year on YouTube, all the highs, all the lows, all the things I've learned along the way. So if you're interested in watching that video, sign up to any tier of the membership, because all of the members are going to be able to see it. And don't worry, for the non-members, more content coming for you guys as well. Thank you very much, man. Yeah, it's been a good year. And this 2025 is going so well so far. I'm just a little bit worried about the heat situation, because it's like almost unbearable already, and we're on the 1st of June, you know. So all throughout June and July, it's going to be getting hotter and hotter every day, and I'm going to have to sit in here doing YouTube videos, and like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I mean, I got this portable AC unit. I'm really hoping it's going to do the job, and what I'm going to have to do is just put it on for an hour, cool down the room as much as possible, and then hit record. Which area of France are you in? Is it Liquid? I still didn't get there. Tell me if it's Liquid. I want to start saying it properly. But which area of France are you in? Like a hot part? Don't worry, I'll save that for my OnlyFans. So obviously, the guitar's nice, but it needs something with it. Because obviously France is a big place, and I'm guessing the bits up north are kind of similar to British weather. But then you've got the Riviera, which is scorching hot. What I sometimes like to do is make a different version of the pad for the drop, right? So you've got the intro pad, and what I do is rename one intro pad, right? And then the other one is just called pad, or it could be called like main pad or something. And what you do is delete all the clips from that one. So that's just the intro pad, and then delete these clips from that one, and you've got these ones on a separate channel now. What you can do with this channel is EQ it down so it's less in your face. And the reason is because it's playing with drums and bass and all these other things, and you don't really want it to be as noticeable because it's not really supposed to be. You know, I sometimes talk about the spotlight. Imagine the stage show, right? And you've got the spotlight. Who's the spotlight shining on? The star of the show, right? So this is just after the drop of the tune, and the drums and the bass come in, and they're taking the limelight for a bit. And if we want the pad to be here, well, it has to take a back seat. So you can make it take a back seat by filtering it right down like this. Maybe by adding even more reverb, because one thing reverb is good for is like pushing things into the background and making them less in your face. And then obviously, needless to say, if you want to push it into the background, another thing you can do is just turn it down. So now we've got two channels of pad, and they're almost the same, but one of them's louder and more in the limelight, and the other one's taking a back seat. So I'm just going to duplicate all of this. This is like the third 16. The guitar can go away. And we can have the Rhodes melody. We could have this girl. I mean, not really sure where to put her. Should it be like she comes in every 16 at the end? Or maybe she could come in like just once halfway through the main section, just there. And then this is where something else happens. So for example, delay piano can come in. Seems like we'll have 50 degrees this summer. So in Barcelona, what people do is all the locals that are actually born and raised in Barcelona, they know better, you know. So what they do is they just take the entire August off and go somewhere further north, like Sweden or Ireland or wherever, you know. Go on holiday somewhere where it's much cooler for the entire August. So since I've been living here for quite a while now, I'm basically a local and I'm just going to do what they do. And I'm from the UK, so what better time to go and visit my family than August? So I will be going to the north of England. I think it's the 8th of August, and I'm going just for the whole rest of the month. Thank you, man. I will. England, you know, it's a quite a beautiful place when the sun shines, which is usually around 2 or 3 weeks a year. Wait, what's going on here? All right. So I'm just putting EQ8 onto this delay piano because I feel like it's got a lot of body. It's got too much body to be in the main section with the drums and bass and everything, you know. I'm trying to take out everything below 200 hertz. Anyway, I've got about 15 minutes left because I'm going to go at 10. This is like a race against the clock. Can I make a DNB liquid tune in 2 hours? What happens to these tunes? They start gathering dust on my hard drive. No, this summer I do plan to. I was thinking about a stream. It's kind of difficult with the logistics because when it comes to finishing tunes, obviously you need to put limiting on there, and then you smash them into the limiter and they end up really loud. And I'm not sure how to deal with that with regards to the volume of the music versus my voice, you know. So I was thinking about doing a live stream where I'm just like finishing tunes, and all the tunes that you've heard me make throughout 2024 and into 2025, which is there's probably about 15 tunes that you've seen me make on these streams and in my videos that are unfinished right now, you know. And I thought it would be a great topic for a stream to just be like, just call it finishing tunes, and then spend hours going through them with you guys. When it comes to finish them, it's mainly just like a bit of a mix down and trying to do the master as loud as possible, and then running into little barriers where, for example, the kick and the bass start like sounding distorted, and then you have to sort them out before you can boost it any louder, you know. So anyway, maybe that'll be a video. Maybe instead of a stream it could be a video, and then I can like afterwards in the edit I can just alter all of the volumes of everything to make sure they all fit in with each other and my voice and that. But yeah, in answer to your question, Future World Machines, all of the tunes that I've started are going to get finished probably this summer, and I want to put together, you know, this is something I've always thought, like, do I put together an album of just liquid drum and bass, or should the album contain like all of the various styles that I make? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Should I make an album of various different styles to show all the different styles that I'm into and all the different styles I make? Or should I sort of separate my music into different releases, e.g. an album of Liquid? So I was saying before at the start of the stream that the link below in the description to this sample pack is an affiliate link, which means if you do buy it, then you'll be really helping out this channel. So it's the Ghost Syndicate Liquid Drum and Bass Bundle, which contains 6 sample packs. We've got 4am, Blue, Evolve, I don't know if it's Hebe or Hebe. We've got Journey, New Light, and New Light. So if you like the sounds that I've been using in this tutorial today, including these drums, basically you've got all the drums you could ever need to make Liquid Drum and Bass within these folders, and it's on sale right now. And if you buy it, you'll be helping out my YouTube channel, so please consider clicking the link in the description. Yeah, because, you know, obviously the people that are going to be buying my tunes, a lot of them might be DJs, you know, and yeah, they might just want to the people who mix Liquid, they might appreciate an album of 12 Liquid tunes, you know. Yeah, that's what I've got. So, you know, there's been a few Liquid streams, there's been a few Liquid videos, and to be honest with you, I've definitely got more than an album's worth. I can pick and choose what goes on the album, but I think I'll make it 12 tracks of my best unreleased Liquid Drum and Bass. Shout out Aaron303 in the building. I want to big up some people in the chat. We've got Distant Lands, we've got Liquid, we've got Aaron303, we've got Future World Machines, and we've got my brother DJ Fully Loaded. And by the way, if you guys like Liquid Drum and Bass, you should check out my brother's channel. He's called DJ Fully Loaded, and he plays Liquid. He also does other types of drum and bass sets, all DJ sets, and they're absolutely perfect. I like to use them for background for when I'm just like working at home and sending emails and stuff, to put on some DJ Fully Loaded. And just a recap for Aaron303 specifically, what we did is I made the drums starting with the kick, added the snare, I added this top loop, and then we got the shuffle. So that's all the drums together, and I do have a reverse crash. Alright, and then what I did is I started off continuing with the Ghost Syndicate Liquid Drum and Bass sample pack, which is linked below. I made this delay piano. Oh yeah, sorry. I need to get used to switching views. But this is the delay piano. It's literally just a one shot of a sample. A one shot sample of a piano in the simpler like that. Then the pad was made with an Ableton Live sound, which is called Chord Pacific. And this pad is amazing because you've got all these different chord styles, major, minor, major seventh and stuff. And it sounds like this. Well, the first one I made sounded like this. Got the cheesy vocal from the 0G sample pack. And then I made this plinky melody originally with a Rhodes, but I changed it to a piano, so I'm just going to change the name of that now. And then the bass. So the bass is a one-shot bass in the simpler. Looks like this. And it sounds like this. We've got the dynamic tube to dirty it up a bit. We've got auto filter with LFO, which makes it wobble a bit. We've got the compressor with sidechain from the kick. And we've got the tuner to attempt to put it in tune with the rest of the track. And I feel like the melody that the piano does could be applied to... Dun, dun, dun. I feel like some other instrument could play that. Wum, 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 wum. I don't know what, but I feel like it should be an orchestral instrument. So I've just duplicated the piano melody channel. And I don't know exactly what I'm looking for, but I know it should be some sort of orchestral sound. Marimba. Let's have a listen. Alright, how about if I get rid of the first couple of notes so it goes like this? So there's a little tip for you. If you can't think of what to do next, just copy the MIDI clip from one thing, put it on something else. Shout out They Lie We See. Nice name. E.E. Wilson in the building. And by the way, the thumbnail was a bit different today. Give me your honest opinion and let me know if you think it was cheesy as hell, or let me know if you liked it. I really will not be offended if you think it was a bit on the corny side. I basically I was in a rush, you know. The supermarket shut early on a Sunday, and I wanted you guys to know that the stream's going to happen. So I was like, I need to sort of get the stream ready, put something on there, and I was like, I just need an idea for a thumbnail, so I came up with that. Put it on there and went to the supermarket. I always like to give you a bit of notice before the stream, you know, so you guys can sort of plan your evening and that. I've said it before that you can basically assume that I'm going to be on unless in the community tab you might see a post from me saying no stream this week. But if you don't see any community posts or anything like that, you can assume I will be here on a Sunday evening. Alright, so there's let's do a little bit of reflection on this. There's some bits that I like, there's some bits that I don't like, right? So I do like the guitar. Sounds really nice. I'm just like pleased with how in tune it is. The thing that I'm not really feeling is the drum transition from one section to the next, which is this. I mean, it could do that once. It shouldn't do it in between each section. Out to the notifications crew. And I'm not sure why you didn't get the notification, but I do really appreciate that you have them turned on. I'll have to look into that. To be honest with you, I did a bit of a test stream today because, like I said, last week was an absolute disaster, so I needed to make sure it was actually going to work. So I think a couple of people might have seen my test stream, which was only ever supposed to be seen by my girlfriend, where she was going to just tell me whether the mic works and whether you can see the screen and stuff, you know. So I'm just like messing about on camera, and then I look and it says 4 people are watching. Oops. Anyway, let me have a look for a break. And there's something that I've not even really been through on here. You see this? All CD quality famous breaks. I got this the other day on Reddit. And if you want it, all you have to do is Google something like collection of the most common breaks. Put that in on Google. You'll see a Reddit thread. And there's basically some guy that's on there being brutally honest, and he says, I'm too lazy to go around the internet collecting all these different drum samples. So can someone just provide me with a folder of all the best breaks? And someone did. The top commenter just gives you this folder, and it's called All CD Quality Famous Breaks, and there's 4 gigabytes worth of breaks in here. So if you want them all, Google it, you know. I would definitely recommend it. And I've not even looked through all the folders, but look at that classic break pack. Even just that by itself is amazing. Here Come the Meter Men. I've never heard of this one. Oops. One thing I need to be careful of is copyright, because some of the tunes in here, it's not just the sample. It's not just the break. It's like the whole tune, you know. Anyway. What was I doing here? Anyway, I'm going back to my tried and tested Jungle Breaks folder, and let's have a listen to some of these. Love the funky drummer break. I do find it works better at slower tempos, to be honest. So if I'm making like a 140 jungle tune or some other kind of breakbeat tune, I love using the funky drummer. And you know what I'm about to do? I'm just not really feeling this here, so I might just put a bit of a break there instead. The Scorpio is a classic. So for the people that don't know, the Scorpio break is amazing, and it also does have a drum fill in it, and it sounds like this. Wait, let me solo it. And I know I've used this one before, but I'm using it again. I'm against the clock here, you know. I've got to take some shortcuts. So I'm going to turn warping back on. And then I'm just going to drag the end, holding down shift, drag the end, so hopefully this is 1 bar now. Let's have a listen to it with the other drums. 1 sec. Not sure if I can get away with that. Shout out E.E. Wilson and Nibiru, or is it Nibiru? I am so terrible at pronouncing names, I'm sorry. Next to marimba, maybe some vibraphone vibes will do. I learned the name of a famous vibes player the other day and I've forgotten it already. I really hope I wrote it down somewhere. Actually, it was a podcast of a happy hardcore DJ. Well, he was around in the original breakbeat hardcore days. He's called DJ Vibes. And I think he was talking about where he got his name from. And essentially, he loves a bit of vibes, as in vibraphone. Is it Nibiru? My eyesight's actually getting kind of bad, and I don't notice it until I need to read someone's name. And I don't want to say it badly, so I just kind of have to zoom in on the screen. Alright, so. Out to the crew, there's 19 people watching now. It was a bit like at the beginning, in the first half an hour, there was only like 4 or 5 people. And maybe it's to do with the notification system, I don't know. But anyway, we've got the Scorpio break thrown in. Imagine. Right, I need to get rid of these kicks. Sorry about that. So now that this always happens, you know, maybe it takes YouTube's system a little while to sort of start pushing this out to people. And it's like, I kind of planned to do 8 till 10, a 2-hour stream, you know. And it's like, in the last minute is when there's actually loads of people watching. So now I'm like, would it be a good idea for me to just sign off when there's 18 or 19 people here now? So since we've got quite a few people here, then I'm going to stick around for a bit longer. Anyway, here's the tune. And that's still not right, is it, the Scorpio? Anyway, I'll fix it in a sec. That's a good point that I have never considered, to be honest with you. That maybe maybe starting at 8 is actually a bit too early and people are still doing their stuff with their family and that. That's just like jarring. Let me try pasting this. I'll tell you the reason why my stream is on a Sunday. In the YouTube studio, you can see when my viewers are online, you know, and there's this sort of graph thing that shows it's different shades of purple, you know, and obviously lighter shades of purple mean everybody's at work, everybody's busy, nobody's watching YouTube, and then the darker it is, then the more people of my audience are online. And it happens to be that Sunday night and Monday night are when everyone's online. It's like you're done for the weekend and you just want to sit down and watch a bit of YouTube. So that's why I plan to do my stream on a Sunday night. In Spain, people eat later than in England. People eat about 9 o'clock here, and in England, some people eat as early as 5 o'clock, you know, which to me it's like almost lunchtime. Right, tell me if you think this little Scorpio brake fill is actually in time now. Much better than it was. Yeah, I basically just sacrifice my dinner to do this stream and then I'll eat later. So that's why you've probably heard me say in previous weeks, like towards the end of the stream, I'm going to have to go because I'm starving. I remember it used to be Heartbeat, and I'm probably showing my age now. Heartbeat, why do you miss when my baby's kissing me? That was on telly on a Sunday night. And I used to, when I heard that, I was like, I had this sense of dread. Like, oh, I've got to go to school in the morning. The weekend's over. That tune was just like signifying the end of the weekend for me. Terrible TV show. Anyway, so for the people who weren't here at the beginning, I'm using this Ghost Syndicate sample pack, and mainly, well, every sample I've used in today's stream has come from this blue. Not every sample, because obviously I took the vocal from 0G. But I mean that basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm not using any from 4am. I'm not using any from any of these others. I'm just sticking with blue. And then in like another stream some other time, I'll show you the samples from one of these other ones. You know, I'll do a stream from this Evolve sample pack. Today it's all about blue. So let's go back into synth one-shots and have a listen to some of these. So the tune's in what key? I think it might be in G. So a good place to start is to listen to the G. And obviously you can repitch samples, so it doesn't really matter. But if you can find samples that sound good that are already in the right key, then it's a good start. No, it doesn't sound right. Is it in F? 1 second, let me just do a little key check. That's the key now. B. Alright. Glad we've established that. Let's go back and have a listen to some of these B samples and see if any of these sound good. Do a mukbang liquid drum and bass session. So you can watch me eat a KFC whilst making a tune. That's a challenge. Make a liquid tune in 2 hours while also eating my dinner. Challenge accepted. Like I was saying, it doesn't have to be a B sample at all. I was just being silly. The one thing I could do is get the notes of this existing pad. Right, I'll get a simpler. Go to instruments. Wait. Get out of this orchestral folder. I'll get the simpler, drag that in there. And then go back to synth strings. And obviously it's A, but we want B, right? So I'm going to have to pitch it up 2 semitones. Three actually, and put it in C. Let me just get the tuner here and see if this is a C. Right, so it's not really happy to. Sometimes the tuner just doesn't work. Maybe that's something, if I was in the Ableton Live forum giving feedback, I'd say, could you actually just make the tuner work with all sounds? That'd be great. Shout out Roughneck. And by the way, guys, if you're enjoying the stream or you've learned something or both, please do click the like button and that will make YouTube spread it out to more people. Roughneck, I'm not sure if the stream is like severely delayed, but yeah, Heartbeat was terrible. And one time I went to what's it called now? Is it Whitby? That place in like on the Yorkshire coast where they filmed Heartbeat. And I actually saw that guy Greengrass. I don't know if you remember him. He's like some old guy with mutton chop sideburns. Right, D minor. Right, let's have a listen. Sorry. I know that's a dying. Forget about it. Maybe I should do something different with the bass. That was nice. Doesn't fit this tune, but that was pretty nice, like kind of 808 sound. Where were we? You see how it's coming in just a little bit flat? The question is, do I tune it to actually put it bang on the money, or is the slight flatness part of the character of this bass sound? I think that's up to, like, different people will have a different opinion, you know. But you know, you might have seen me in previous videos and tutorials going on about tuning it to C, and I'm going to show you why, right? Now, you've seen that I've just pressed a button on my keyboard and made it make a B, right? You can see clearly on the tuner that this is a B. But if we go into the MIDI clip, what note am I actually playing? D sharp. So this is why it's a good idea to press your C and then tune it so that a C is a C. The reason is because now, if you wanted to, you could grab one of these MIDI clips. For example, like, this is just an example, right? But this pad, get this MIDI clip, drag that down onto there, and then play it. And even that MIDI clip was played in the wrong note, so it was a bad example. But anyway, you could get a MIDI clip where it was playing the right notes and then just drop it on there and it would be playing the right notes with your bass line. Anyway, let's play the tune and see how I can fit this sort of 808 sound in with the tune. As I was saying before, it's a good idea to check the spectrum analyzer, and I suspect this is like an octave too high. Or is it? No, it's perfect. There is some weirdness going on though. Almost sounds like it's got reverb on it. Anyway, you can decide whether you want to tame a little bit of the harmonics with in low pass. You know, if you did something like that, you still got harmonics on there, making it sound warm and stuff, but you do get rid of some of that character of the top end, which was almost sounding like it's got reverb on it. But anyway, sounds like this. And also another little tip for you is when you're dealing with samples like this and you're repitching them to all different pitches, right? It depends on how the higher pitch you do it, the more it's going to be a shorter sample, right? So I'll give you an example. If I put it right up like this, listen to it. Actually, I'm starting to dislike the end part here. Anyway, my point was, the lower it is, the longer the sample is. So if it's all the way down here, the sample will go on for longer because the little playhead moves slower. But if you want to make it more uniform, what you can do is click this little warp button here, and now whatever pitch you play it at, it's always the same length. Anyway, let's hear it. I want to hear how it switches back to the normal bass. That's the real test. How does it sound when we go back to the regular bass? Now we're alternating between the short bass and the long bass. And obviously, needless to say, this should be in the bass group up here. Oops, sorry. Can't have them both playing at the same time. It's going to be a mess. Alright, here's the short bass. It's like a contrast, you know, because now it's got these big gaps after every bass hit. You've just got this big long pause. So as I was saying, if you want less harmonics, what you do is you low pass it with an EQ like this. If you think it's got too much going on, you'd do this. And it's just going to be sub bass, right? So what happens if you think it's not got enough harmonics on it? Well, you're going to have to use some kind of distortion. So the saturator, for example. And if you think that sounds too much, you can turn down the dry and wet. And that's about it. Wait. Wow, did you see that? It's flashing the whole screen as it does it. Never seen it do that before. I wonder if this could sound any good. I want it to go doo-dum. Where would it go? No, it needs to be quicker. Like a doo-dum. Yeah, that works. Know what I mean? Any comments, questions, suggestions? Yo, Liquite, thank you for joining, and I'll hopefully see you next Sunday. I'm here every Sunday night. Every Sunday, 8 PM, like Spanish time, which is 7 in the UK. Usually, well, it's like at least 2 hours, and then, like today, obviously, there was more people towards the end, so it felt a bit stupid to just sign off, so I've decided to stick around for a bit. Future World Machines is asking me if I need a piss. Well, to be honest with you, not right now, but I have on the stream before. Got to make sure that the music carries on playing, so you've got something to entertain you while I nip off. And it's always a 2-drink situation, so I have a large mug which is always full of tea at the beginning of the stream, and I always have 1 beer on standby, and I can like have those 2 drinks during the stream, and once those 2 are gone, it's time to leave. So as I was saying before, there's a link in the description for the Ghost Syndicate Liquid Drum and Bass bundle. All of the samples are absolutely perfect for making liquid DNB. So the drums you can hear are all from that pack. And there's loads of nice kicks and snares and shuffles and top loops and stuff like that. And by the way, it's a affiliate link. So if you do click it and buy anything, then this channel will earn a small commission from it, and it'll help keep the lights on at the Grace Studios. And let me know if any of you guys have got YouTube channels, then let me know and I will subscribe. And there's also the option to join Grace Nation. So Grace Nation is the membership for this channel, and what we've got is essentially we've got a Discord server, and we get together once a month to do these group calls where everybody gives each other feedback, listen to each other's tunes. Obviously I'm going to help you with your tunes, give you some feedback, answer any questions you've got, and give you some tips. So consider joining Grace Nation with the join button underneath the stream. We've all got YouTube channels. Yeah, that is a point. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to comment if you didn't. And that's what I meant when I said that I've had this channel since 2012, you know. It's like you were required to create a YouTube channel if you wanted a Gmail or whatever, you know. And also, one thing that I like to do with liquid drum and bass tunes is like a hip hop intro. So really quickly, I'm going to show you this folder that I've got, and it's imaginatively titled Drum Loops. In this drum loops folder, it's got loads of sick hip hop drums. So I'm just going to loop part of this intro here, so we've just got the pad going, and have a listen to some of these. Alright, some of them don't time stretch properly. Alright, you get the point. I think that Tariq's good. Doesn't loop properly though. So let me use Alcoholics just as an example. And what I'll do is, I'm going to put an auto filter on it. And I'm going to gradually remove the low end. So it's going to start off all the way down here. And this frequency, I'm going to put on automation mode. Wait a sec. So throughout these hip hop drums, maybe from here, I'll just put a little dot on the line. So for the people that don't know how automation works in Ableton Live, let me just give you a really quick lesson. So first of all, you need to press A to get into automation mode. So press A on your keyboard, and you'll know that you're in automation mode when you see this red line appear. And right now it's right at the bottom, but if I drag it up, you'll see it, right? So this red line is your automation, and this corresponds with a certain control within Ableton Live. So in this case, it corresponds to this frequency of the auto filter. So watch what happens when I play it now. Gradually, it's taking the bass out of those drums. You know what I mean? So it's just a way to kind of make them subtly go away, ready for the drop. One sec. Let me try something. For anyone who is old like me, you might remember this Breakbeat Paradise sample pack. And actually for me, that was the first sample pack I ever got. And a friend of mine copied it. He had it on his external hard drive. and I plugged his external hard drive into my laptop and copied Breakbeat Paradise over and then started using these, and I've just never stopped. And maybe I'm a bit set in my ways, but they are tried and tested. And before I was showing you the tuner and how you can use it to put them to perfect pitch, but I've used this one so much. Hey up, Danny, how you doing, man? I've used this 808 so many times that I just always do the same thing, which is 6 semitones, detune it by 47, put a bit of attack on it, and then might put a bit of saturation on there as well. Alright, let me hear this 808 compared to the one that I had before. You hear how that one's like super short? This one kind of goes on a bit. Goes on a bit longer. And you can let me know in the chat if you prefer the old 808 or this one that I've just put in. Maybe I'll turn down the dry wet. So Danny, and for the crew that have just joined us, what we've got here is a liquid drum and bass tune which I've made in 2 hours. We start off with the drums and the pad. Eight bars later we get this. I've panned it to the left side. Future World Machines are saying try it mono. Are you talking about the bass, the the older 808 that I had there? This thing. It's just like the stereo isn't the problem. It's like the length of the notes that they're just a bit too short. And I know I've got long bass and I wanted a short bass, but I just feel like it's a bit too short, you know. Anyway, going back to waffling on about the structure. We start off with just a pad. We come in with the delay piano, which is this one. I've panned it to the left side. New 808. Is it in stereo? That is mono. It's just one 808. But anyway. Good way to put stuff into mono on here is put a utility there. If you ever want to put something into mono, and by the way, when I made the remake of the Ready or Not remix, I used this a lot. Press this mono button here because when I compared my version to the DJ Zinc version, actually mine was sounding too nice. I had a lot more stereo width in the sounds and it was all sounding very wide and big. And then I listened to his and it was just straight down the middle. So, Future World Machines is saying you've got it on 6 voices. Alright, it's on 1 voice now. I'm not sure if there's any difference, but it is good to be aware of it, right? Anyway, Danny's saying, been working on a new track. Using all your tips. We'll send it over at some point. Yes, Danny, get on the Ableton Live vibes. What have you been using? Is it FL Studio? You know, I feel really lucky, you know, when it comes to your software of choice. I used Ableton Live from like over 15 years ago. And I just feel really fortunate that the one that I decided to stick with is the one that nowadays I think it is the best, or it's there's many of us, you know, there's a big community of people that use Ableton Live. And I could have quite easily chosen to use like Cubase or one of these other ones that I do see like producers and YouTubers these days, and I just feel like you're an amazing producer, you're good on camera, you're this and that, but I kind of feel like it might hold you back if you're a YouTuber that's making like Cubase content, because there's not as many audience out there, you know what I mean? Yeah, Bitwig and Renoise. So Bitwig, I feel like if you're using Bitwig, you can probably watch Ableton Live tutorials, and that most of the stuff will apply, because I think the story of Bitwig is that the developers used to work at Ableton and then they just like branched off. If I've got that correct, but it's a very similar software, right? So anyway, I'm really blessed to have learned Ableton Live inside out for the last 15 years, and nowadays it's a very popular software that many people on YouTube are searching for tutorials on it, you know what I mean? Where's that little Scorpio thing? I've put it in the wrong group. The Scorpio is in the instruments group. Anyway, that's a little tiny bit too loud, I think. Maybe, you know what, I always think that when you've got a little drum fill like this, it can't upstage your main drums. Because one thing, I actually had a tune, full disclosure, I had a tune that came out in probably like 2010, 2011, where it had a little 1-bar amen fill that was actually louder than my main drums, and it sounds ridiculous because it's like this fill comes in, all this energy, and then you go back to your main drums and it makes them sound weak. So you need to always make sure, if you're going to do a little 1-bar fill, make sure that's not taking all the limelight and upstaging your main drums and making them sound weak when they come back in. And obviously I've took it too far. Actually, it was fine. Maybe I just needed to remove the low end. Big up Stranger. He is like, you know, obviously the subscriber count isn't everything, but I have to say, with Stranger having 120,000 subscribers, I would love to be in his position. But you know, it's early days. I'll get there. We're building up the community. And you guys are amazing. I really do appreciate the guys that come back every Sunday to watch this stream. You know who you are. Yeah, Stranger's a good producer, good presenter, good YouTuber. Yeah, so every Sunday at 8 o'clock Spanish time, 7 o'clock UK time onwards, usually for 2 hours, sometimes for 3 or 4 hours. But I am going to have to go now. But I'll stay, just to make it a round number, I'm going to stay for 12 more minutes and sign off at 11 Spanish time. So, it's question time. Does anyone have any questions for me? It can be about anything, by the way, not just about this tune. I've not really watched. I'm not a shorts guy, you know, in terms of making them or in terms of watching them. But I know that probably I should. The thing is, yeah, I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but you know that university challenge thing that was everywhere, where the guy's like, can't accept drum and bass, we need jungle, I'm afraid. And then I jumped on the bandwagon and made a remix of it, you know. And I posted it as a YouTube short, and it now has like 40k views. Do you know how much I've made from that? Literally 10 cents. And obviously, it's only been a couple of months that I've been monetized, but the point is, you do get like really, really small amounts for shorts. Like if you get 1 million views on a short, you'll probably only get like 100 quid or something like that. Out to the Macclesfield crew. That's where I'm originally from. That's where Danny is. And you'll have to come out to Barcelona, Danny. I'm going to be in... I was saying before you got here, I'm going to be in the UK in August. And maybe I'll come to Macclesfield. Future World Machines is saying, that's good promotion for the channel. Do you mean we need jungle? You know what? I have been meaning to put it as like a full, what's it called? A long form, or like a, what do you call it? Landscape video rather than portrait. Been meaning to upload one for ages, and it's like I kind of feel like I missed the boat. That meme was ages ago, wasn't it? And it's like if you upload it now, people are just going to be in the comments going, come on, bro, this was 1.5 years ago. So I don't know if you've heard of Clips. You know Clips? He mainly, back in the day, he was a jump up producer, but I think he makes a lot of jungle as well. If you didn't hear it, you should hear his We Need Jungle version. It's amazing. I saw it on Instagram. Yeah, I agree about it's good. They're good for promoting your channel. They do say you get a lot more subscribers when you post shorts on a regular basis. But the thing is, those subscribers are the type of people who watch shorts. They're not the type of people who watch your long form tutorials. So kind of attracting a different crowd. I'll think about it anyway. You know what a lot of people do is they call it repurposing content, which is basically where I would take this live stream and I would get like some clips out of it and then put them as shorts. Or like take bits of my tutorials and post them as shorts, you know. Kind of cheeky. Repurposing content. But truth be told, not everyone's got 3 hours to watch a live stream, so perhaps taking some snippets might be a good idea. Yeah. I forgot about the hip hop bit. I don't doubt it that strangers repurposing content. I think everyone's doing it. pretty much the blueprint these days. You do a live stream. You can take some chunks and make tutorials or like some videos that are 5 or 10 minutes long. And then you can take some even shorter chunks and do all your TikToks and all your shorts and all your Instagram reels out of it. So you basically get all of this different content just from doing one live stream. And what I think a lot of people do is they hire a person. So they do the live stream and then they just hire some guy to like chop it up and make all the different short form content out of it. Nice one, Danny. Glad you like it. I made it right here on this stream, so if at a later stage you can be bothered, you can go back and watch me make this tune from scratch. Anyway, Future World Machines hit the nail on the head before. I do really need the toilet, to be honest. So I'm going to have to go. But anyway, thank you so much to everyone who's locked in tonight and everyone who locks in on a weekly basis. And if this is your first time here, make sure you come back next week. It's going to be 8 o'clock Sunday, that's Spanish time, 7 o'clock UK. Alright, see you next week.